of $1 million each to go in a dodgy submarine to see the wreck of the Titanic. So it went missing on the 18th of June and likely imploded that same day. Most experts have said that the 5 men wouldn't have known they were in danger at all, as the submarine would have imploded almost instantaneously. However, a recent report by engineer and underwater expert Jose Martin suggests that this was not the case. In his report, he writes that the men would have likely been aware of the impending implosion. In fact, he believes that they would have known their fate anywhere from 48 to 71 seconds before it happened. The report hypothesizes that the submarine was at a depth of 5,500 feet when it malfunctioned.
What's up, Seekers? Welcome back to the channel, man. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing alright, man. If you guys are brand new to the channel, we break down scary and creepy videos, man, on and there, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG reels, Facebook, anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank the Seekers who's been tapping into the channel, subscribing, hitting that like button, man, hitting that post notification bell, man. That's very important, Seekers, man. That's how we could grow and we can connect and find new Seekers to add to the community. So guys, just do those steps and we go. Found this video for you guys today, man. Let's do what we do best, Seekers. Let's seek the truth.
This is 34-year-old Danielle Johnson, and she was from Los Angeles, California. Danielle was an astrology influencer, and she was seen warning her followers about the upcoming eclipse. She believed that something was going to happen and that everyone needed to choose a side. On April 8th of this year, around 3:40 a.m., Danielle got into a verbal altercation with her boyfriend, 29-year-old Jaylyn Shaney. She then fatally stabbed Jaylyn inside of their apartment. Danielle then took her 2 daughters in her car, and once they were on the freeway, she forcibly pushed them out. Unfortunately, her 8-month-old had died on impact, but her 9-year-old has sustained serious injuries. Once that had happened, Danielle then crashed her car at high speed into a tree in Redondo Beach. Around 7:35 a.m., neighbors had noticed that Danielle and Jaylyn's front door was wide open, and they went to go check what was going on. That's when they had discovered Jaylyn's body. Investigators ended up going into the apartment, and that's when they found tarot cards, altars, black feathers, and candles. Danielle's 9-year-old daughter is now under the care of the Department of Children and Family Services.
These are serious.
Man, you guys know, man, that eclipse that happened April 8th, man, everybody had all these crazy theories of what was gonna happen or if it was a sign for anything to come, but to me it just seemed like a regular eclipse. Nothing happened that I know of, Seekers. I don't know if something happened like over this, you know, the world is a huge place, but to hear that she freaking did that, because she said everybody had to choose a side, and she all the weird stuff, man, so the boyfriend was probably trying to question her, was like, what's going on? And she did the unthinkable, man, just for a freaking eclipse, Seekers. It's one of the most freaking outrageous eclipse stories I've heard so far, Seekers.
Serial killers that are now free, part 1.
Up first is Issei Sagawa. Issei Sagawa is a Japanese murderer and cannibal who is known for killing Renee Hartfelt in Paris in 1981.
He murdered her and then mutilated her body, and then proceeded to eat her entire body over 3 days.
But due to loopholes in the law, Issei Sagawa is now a free man and lives in Tokyo, roaming the streets just like you. Up next is Pedro Lopez, and he's a Colombian serial killer who was found guilty of 110 murders, but he claimed to have raped and killed more than 300 girls across Colombia, Peru, and Ecuador.
He might be one of the worst serial killers ever, due to how many people he actually killed.
But despite murdering over 300 people, Pedro Lopez was only given a 14-year sentence in a psych ward and was later released on good behavior.
What the fuck? Seekers, come on, man. I know we talking about the system, but that just has to be like, that's just blatant obvious proof. He caused outright harm and pain, only got 14 years in that psych and got out for good behavior? What the hell is that, Seekers? All those freaking families, man, affected by one man, and they just say 14 years, and you had good behavior, you can get out. Like, what? Did they not see the freaking list of stuff of what he did, Seekers? I'm telling you, man, the system is corrupt, bro. We all gotta freaking check it out, man. Something ain't right.
Yo, tell me you didn't delete the video of the dead kid. It's $10K if you give to the popo. That's one of the texts accused killer Taylor Sherman received after he and his friends, known as the Gilbert Goons gang, allegedly beat 16-year-old Preston Lord to death. After the incident, the FBI was offering a $10,000 reward for more information. In another message, accused killer Jacob Meisner asked people to delete the videos to cover their tracks. All 7 suspects have pleaded not guilty.
This woman was pretending to be a 14-year-old so that way she could sleep with teen boys.
What the?
Her name is Alyssa Zinger, and in actuality, she's 23 years old, nearly a decade older than what she was claiming to be. Real-life Alyssa would work as a grocery clerk, but when she was on apps such as TikTok or Snapchat, she would pretend to be a 14-year-old girl who was homeschooled. And while she was doing this, she tricked at least 5 boys between 13 and 14 years old into dating her. And with some of these boys, she even went over to their houses and met their families. She even had their families thinking that she was 14. Now, one of these boys who she tricked into dating her actually started dating another girl. And in response to this, Alyssa started sending them. These were videos of her sexually assaulting the minor that she was previously dating, and these videos circulated all over Snapchat. The boy told all of this to detectives. Now, aside from what she did, one of the more disturbing things about this case so far is that Alyssa has not accepted any responsibility for what she had done. She's also acting like she doesn't understand why what she did is wrong. On top of that, she's been extremely uncooperative. She actually gave detectives a phone that was not hers. When they initially asked her for her phone, she said that her true phone was lost. But nonetheless, investigators have been able to pull sexually explicit photos and videos from her iCloud. Her Rainey hearing is currently scheduled for April 16th of 2024. To stay up to date on this case, make sure you click the playlist below. I'll keep you guys updated what you think. Drop in the comments.
Seekers, man. I'm telling you, when the internet is one of the freaking most dangerous places. See if we can portray herself as a 14-year-old and the head that she actually met some of the families and they couldn't even tell. Like, what the hell was that? Was she freaking that good as a freaking actor, man, if we can pull that off? That's what I said, man. When you go behind these accounts and stuff, bro, you gotta really check because you don't know how. You don't really know the freaking true person behind that freaking TikTok account, Instagram, YouTube. It applies to everything, man. You truly don't know that person and their intentions. She fooled everybody, Seekers. Keep that in mind. I wonder how many other people pretending freaking age on TikTok. Where's the Skyman TikTok? We know Seekers, man. We know. I guess they're known for their edits, bro. You can tell right there.
This is the terrifying image of a woman cowering on her rooftop, trying to escape an intruder when he pops up behind her. What happened to this woman is like something off a horror film. It was September 2014, and Melora Rivera was at her home in California. Unfortunately for her, though, she was not home alone on the day in question, although she was initially unaware of this. Melora worked as an actress and actually had a part in the Whitney Houston film Sparkle. She was in her bed when she noticed somebody in her property. He had apparently broken a panel to reach inside and unlock one of the doors. Terrified, the woman tried to escape onto the roof to alert authorities. She managed to balance up on the roof and ring 911 before, terrifyingly, he jumped up and appeared behind her. This image was captured by a passerby. Thankfully, police arrived on the scene and the man was arrested. He was identified as 29-year-old Christian Hicks. He was swiftly arrested and the woman was rescued off the roof by the fire brigade.
Gruesome facts you didn't know.
She's
Part
lucky,
263.
Seekers.
Grace McDaniels was
She's
an
aware.
American freak show performer known as the Mule-Faced Woman. Grace suffered from Sturge-Weber syndrome, and after winning a 1935 Ugliest Woman contest, she was signed on with F.W. Miller's Sideshow. She was paid roughly $175 a week and traveled all around America and Canada. She hated being called a freak or the ugliest woman in the world and would often cover her ears and try to hide her face. One evening when she was intoxicated, a carnival handyman impregnated Grace and was never seen again. Grace's son Elmer was deformity-free but grew up to be a morphine-addicted alcoholic who often stole from Grace in the Sideshow. He also acted as her manager and tainted her name so badly that carnivals and sideshows would no longer hire her. Dustin Honkin, who became known as Iowa's Walter White, went from nerdy college chemistry student to full-blown meth kingpin. In order to protect his criminal enterprise, he murdered 5 people in 1993. 2 who planned to testify against him, and a single mother and her 2 small children. On death row since 2005, he was finally put to death in summer of 2020.
A serial killer.
That freaking circus story, bro, was freaking tragic, man. She was freaking known. She had to hide like that. Secrets, man. Like, imagine being freaking. It's not like her church. She was born like that, man. And she had to freaking join freaking circus as a freak show, like. People, I guess, to just gawk and look at her. You shouldn't treat people like that, Seekers, man. You gotta love everybody.
So awful, they asked.
And there's a real Walter White.
Capturing him. Gary Ridgway, or the Green River Killer, is thought to be the worst serial killer in American history. He preyed on vulnerable young women, targeting adult workers, but most of his victims were actually just teen runaways as young as 14 or 15 years old. Like his one victim, Deborah Esty, who ran away from home when she was 14 because she was being essayed by her own father. After she ran away, she was then attacked and essayed by a serial R-worder that was also on the loose at the time. She reported this attack to the police, who afterwards dropped her back off at the motel that she was staying at, and within minutes of them dropping her off, she was kidnapped by Gary, who essayed and unalived her. She was only 15 years old. I don't think I'll ever get her story out of my head. It's been reported that Gary has an extremely low IQ, but he's extremely calculated. Like, for instance, Gary would leave cigarette butts with other people's DNA on them around, like, his victims' bodies to throw off the police. And when Gary was eventually on the police's radar, he was able to pass multiple lie detector tests. Gary Ridgway was attacking and unaliving so many women that at some points they were finding 2 to 3 bodies a week. Gary Ridgway was eventually caught after being on the police's radar for over a decade. The DNA that eventually got Gary, the police had in their custody for over 14 years, but they just couldn't get a match on it because DNA testing just wasn't what it is now. Gary Ridgway did go on to confess to unaliving all 49 women and girls' bodies that they found, but claims there's at least 20 more out there that they just haven't found yet. I don't know if there's a case out there that scares me as much as Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer. In the comments, let me know what case you want to see me cover next, especially if it's a case that really keeps you up at night.
Lauren Boebert.
Oh, what he did, man, that's definitely gonna keep me up at night, Seekers, man. All those damn freaking women, bro. And like, hey, how she said here, like, he wasn't that smart, but he was freaking throwing off the police for like that many years. He had to have some sense of freaking, yeah, he had to be like, you know, he had to have some intelligence, man, to freaking, to be able to freaking put off the cops for that freaking long. Like I said, I'm passing lie detector test too, like, what the hell? He did all those actions, he passed a lie detector test. I don't know how that's even freaking possible, Seekers. Green River, that's what they call him, the Green River guy, bro. Like, what the hell? First time hearing that case in death.
Son was arrested and is currently facing up to 22 charges. This is solely for educational purposes, no hate to anyone involved. Here's what we know so far. Don't forget to check out my Depop Banner Reports news. So if you don't know who Lauren Boebert is, she is a MAGA Trump Republican. She is super controversial, has been kicked out of a ton of places, and has talked about her children a lot. This is Tyler Boebert. This is the son that was arrested. You might recognize him because he is also the face of her pro-life campaign. He became a teen dad at 17, and allegedly the girlfriend was 15. On February 20th, the police received a phone call of a woman reporting that someone had broken into her car on February 19th and stolen her wallet. Her car was parked, and then whoever stole her wallet used it at 4 different places and attempted to order $700 on Shein. As the police investigated, they found surveillance footage that showed 3 guys and 1 girl. It's unknown who the other people are, and it's believed that the girl is a minor. One of the reasons he was identified was because he was wearing a hoodie that said Shooter's Grove. If you didn't know, Lauren Boebert used to own a restaurant named Shooter's Grill, and that hoodie was from her old restaurant. Good part 2.
She was talking all that, and then freaking son got caught up with some freaking bad stuff. You know, she ain't gonna like that, because that's gonna hurt her freaking career. Her political career, I mean, see, because that's all they freaking care about.
A high school football star who took his own life after falling victim to a sextortion scam is finally seeing justice. Nigerian brothers Samuel and Samson Ogoshi posed as a woman on Instagram and tricked 17-year-old Jordan DeMay into sending them intimate photos. They demanded the teen send them $1,000, threatening to share the pictures with his friends and family if he didn't pay up. 6 hours later, DeMay was found dead. His last message was, "I'm killing myself right now because of you." Now the scammers have pleaded guilty to conspiring to exploit teenage boys.
The only person on Earth to have the Neuralink brain chip has just recorded the first ever demonstration on how well it's working, and he's already received an ad for Prime. For your parents, the name of the first man to walk on the moon was important, but now we finally have the identity of the world's first cyborg, Nolan Arbor. The 29-year-old, who was paralyzed from the shoulders down after a freak diving accident, is now telekinetic, meaning that everything he now does on his Mac is controlled with his mind. As you can see, he demonstrates playing chess, saying, "Before this, I had to use a mouse stick, but now, if you can see the cursor moving around the screen, that's all me." He said that the first day they let him use it by himself, he stayed up till 6 a.m. playing Civilization 6, which would have been impossible for him before. I mean, just wait till GTA 6 dropped. He also did say that he wanted to let people know that it's not perfect and he has run into some issues, although he didn't specify what those issues were. But for anyone thinking about applying for human trials, he says there's nothing to be scared of. He's had no cognitive impairments, and that it's already changed his life and will soon change the world. So the question is, at some point, will you be getting the Neuralink chip or not?
Imagine being...
No! Like, what the... No! I'm not doing that, Seekers. What the heck? I ain't got a chip in my head. I do not agree with that, Seekers, at all. I know that they're trying to freaking push the bounds of technology, but that's a no. I ain't doing it. I cannot do it, Seekers, man.
So scared of police that you freeze to death. Brandon Bushman was a 34-year-old man living in Minnesota. On June the 26th, 2023, something horrific was revealed. Police responded to a call asking them to attend a property that hadn't been lived in since around February 2023. Just after 3:30 p.m, police found Brandon's body inside of a chest freezer in the property. Now, witnesses had seen police in the local area and spotted Brandon run from the upstairs of the house. It's believed that he had a warrant outstanding for his arrest, and it's believed he was trying to evade police. In doing so, he ran to the freezer of the property, presumably hoping to hide there for a short amount of time. However, after climbing into the basement freezer by choice, tragically due to it being an older model of freezer, it had no facility to be opened from the inside. It had a latching mechanism on the outside of the freezer only. Tragically, Brandon was trapped. He couldn't escape the freezer. He was found deceased, and the autopsy showed no evidence of him having any prior injuries or trauma to his body.
I just got locked in the freaking freezer, Seekers. That's a weird way to freaking go out. Another edit. Gotta call it like I said. I like telecommunications.
We have an awesome bathtub. It's a jacuzzi tub meant for my muscles. And we have a wonderful ramp so I can get up and down by myself. The light switches, I can reach them now. I have wider doors so my chair can get through.
You know,
they were given the van, and when the van died, they got another similar vehicle.
Here's the keys to the house.
Thank you.
And here's the keys to the car that was donated.
They were also given things like free flights to Gypsy's medical appointments or conferences. As far as Gypsy being sick, you almost wouldn't think that she was. A lot of people who had a lot less wrong with them would probably have done a lot more moaning and wailing about the whole thing.
Here she is having tubes being put into her, having needles and treatments, and it was incredibly inspiring to see how Gypsy responded to these conditions. It was unreal.
But we all know the freaking true story behind that sequence, man. The sinister freaking chilling story. It seems like, it's just like, isn't it interesting to see? Because like you could watch the freaking videos and stuff, I guess in the past, and you really had like no idea what was going on behind the scenes. That just shows you how much like you truly don't know a situation unless you really know what's going on behind the scenes. That's the real things we need to be looking at. Crazy.
In the video I just showed you, 40-year-old Stephen Weber was proposing to his girlfriend, Kanisha Antoine, in Tanzania, but Stephen never resurfaced. Yes, just after proposing to his girlfriend, Stephen drowned in that water and never came back to the surface. At the time, the couple had rented out an underwater hotel room, and that was when Stephen had planned to ask Kanisha to marry him. So on the day of, while Kanisha was in the room, Stephen went up to the surface, got his stuff ready, and hopped in the water. In the video, he takes out a note and presses it against the window. This side of the note reads, "I can't hold my breath long enough to tell you everything I love about you, but everything I love about you, I love more every day." He then flipped the note over, and the other side read, "Will you please be my wife?" And after that, he retrieved a wedding ring in a box from his swim trunks. In the video, he then swims off camera, but like I said before, Stephen never came back up to the surface. Obviously, this was a massive shock to everybody in this situation and just such a horrific accident. And in fact, later on, Kanisha would write in a Facebook post, "You never emerged from those deaths, so you never got to hear my answer. Yes, yes, a million times, yes, I will marry you." This story is just horribly sad and one of those times truly when truth is stranger than fiction. I'm going to play the rest of the clip after this, but if you want to hear more true crime stories, listen to the podcast Murder in America that I co-host with my wife, Courtney. It's available on all streaming platforms.
What does that say? Oh, it's so cute. What?
She's so happy.
These are the most disturbing.
Doesn't even know what's about to happen, man. Like, imagine, like, if you can, like, proposing, I guess, to trying to propose. Think of a plan trying to be romantic, propose, and then you just swim off and you never get seen again. After you just ask that big question, Seekers, man. That's freaking truly a sad and, like, one of the most bizarre cases we heard. I didn't even know they said it was in an underwater hotel. I don't know, stuff like that. I mean, where is that located? I'm gonna have to do some research on that, Seekers, because underwater hotel, I'm about to say, isn't that like a risk? Like, what happens if you're just sleeping and the freaking water just comes in, man? But if you can say yes, but he never got to hear the answer, Seekers, that's a tragic case.
Disturbing videos on TikTok, and this is a massive trigger warning. In February 2022, a TikToker by the name of Beanbag Adventures arrived at a structure that seemed completely abandoned. Locally, this place was known as the lavatory. Upon entering the building, Beanbag Adventures was completely overwhelmed by a very, very strong odor, despite the respiratory he was wearing. So he followed the stench and it led him down to the basement, and into a strange room, and it's there that he would make a disturbing discovery. A pool of stagnant liquid containing the remains of children, and not just children, we are talking about newborn babies. Now, at first, when the video was released, there was a debate about how real the footage was. As he said in the video, he found movie props. But that was likely an attempt to prevent the graphic footage from being deleted. But having seen the video, it's pretty convincing and would have to have been very costly to fake. Another indication of its authenticity is that in the high-quality footage, maggots and insects are clearly on and around the bodies. After he posted the first video, he went back to business as usual, but in December 2022, he went back and what he captured silenced most of the doubters. because this time things changed. There was children's clothes scattered all on the floor, and a pile of glass bottles appeared, and within the pool itself were even more corpses. And many bodies that were recognizably the same were now further decomposed than before. This was either a very well put together hoax, or it was real. Many people were even quick to discover that the bottles found appeared to be formaldehyde, a chemical used for the preservation of bodies. After the second video went viral, many believed that there was a serial killer on the loose or a group of killers, but others were still convinced it was a trick. Now, I obviously can't show the video on blurred, but it's not hard to find it at all if you want to watch it. So if you decide to watch it, let me know your thoughts on it and if you think it's real. Nonetheless, this video is absolutely disturbing, and it's definitely one of the most disturbing videos on TikTok that I've seen. Also, if you guys have any suggestions on videos you want me to cover on TikTok, just let me know.
Seekers, man. What do you guys freaking think, man? Like he said, he doubled back and went back, and the bodies were freaking still there. But there was bottles and stuff over the place. But like I said, I think why people, like I said, were down there because they said they found movie props there, so that's why they assumed it was fake seekers. I don't know if any of the seekers wonder if you can check that out for us, man. But that's not something I would do. But if anyone wants to check that out, confirm it's fake. If it's fake or it's the truth, like, you know where to put it at the comments down below, man. That's where we all freaking get together and talk. Another edit. Where's the sky, bro? We know how this freaking TikTok rolls.
Imagine getting married to a man and then 2 years later he chops you into 200 pieces. In 2021, Nicholas Metzen married Holly Bramley. The pair were from Lincoln in the UK. However, after they got married, the relationship completely broke down. Holly told her family she was really struggling. She said Nicholas was coercive and controlling. He would manipulate her, and Holly's family said he was an evil monster. Massive trigger warning here for animals. Nicholas was known to punish Holly in sickening ways, such as killing their pet puppy by putting it in a washing machine. He left the puppy there for her to find. She'd once even run to a police station with their pet rabbits to try and save them from him. Holly was last seen alive on CCTV on the 17th of March 2023. Shortly after, police were asked to do a welfare check for Holly, so they turned up at the couple's flat. What they found deeply concerned them. They could smell a strong scent of bleach, and they noticed bloodstains in the kitchen, bathroom and bedroom. When they asked Nicholas where his wife was, he joked that she might be hiding under the bed. He then told them that she'd gone off with a mental health support group. That was when something horrific was discovered. A member of the public spotted plastic bags floating in the river with them. When they were recovered from the water, they found that inside were human remains, including a human hand. They were identified as Holly's remains. Nicholas initially denied having anything to do with Holly's death, but then investigators made some damning discoveries. He'd taken money out of Holly's account and had also Google searched, what benefits do I get if my wife has died, and can someone haunt me after they die? He eventually pleaded guilty to her murder and admitted to having cut up her body and kept it in the flat for a week. He then contacted 28-year-old Joshua Hancock to dispose of the body. He paid him to do this. He tried to claim that he was being abused by Holly, and he showed investigators a bite mark on his arm. However, an expert examined the bite mark and stated that it appeared that that bite had occurred while Holly was actually in a headlock. Joshua also pleaded guilty for his part in this horrific crime. Frustratingly, it later transpired that Nicholas actually had numerous convictions against previous partners prior to marrying Holly. He'd been convicted for domestic assault as well as disclosing sexual images and breaching a restraining order. Holly's mum, Annette, spoke in court about how Nicholas had condemned the family to a life sentence of grief. He's actually due to be sentenced today, so I will update you guys in the comments as to what his sentence is.
This is wild.
Tragic freaking case, Seekers. The name that always gets me, we hear kids like that, and there's always somebody who searched something up. Like, do they not realize, man, that freaking law enforcement, they can freaking access the internet and stuff. So it's like they truly, that just goes to show they truly don't think before they act. Yes, can somebody haunt you? Didn't even think about the freaking actions, man. Like I said, what they did to that family. They're gonna be grieving for the rest of their lives, Seekers.
Although the video you're watching looks like a scene straight up out of a zombie movie, this is real-life footage from Myanmar. And the reason all of these people are swarming this mine is just as dark. The hills of Kachin hold the finest jade in the world, which earns billions of dollars for the companies who mine them. But it's not just the mining companies who are searching for these precious stones. Every year, they leave behind huge heaps of waste that thousands of scavengers then pick through, desperately hoping to find a rock that would change their lives. But because they are there illegally, their lives are under constant threat from landslides, falling from heights, and raids from soldiers protecting the site. For perspective, just the last 10 landslides, which can happen every few months, a staggering 600 people have died, many of which are only found when mining operations begin again during the next season's digging process. And because the conditions are so rough for scavengers, many are forced to turn to heroin to ease muscle pain, but quickly become addicted. Drug use around these sites are widely accepted, and needles are as common as soda cans on the floor. Locals say you see people in the early morning, half asleep, walking around with needles in their arms, or eating noodles with a syringe on their ear, just like you'd put a cigarette. And even if you are lucky enough to find a rock, by law, you can be arrested on the spot for just touching it. And that's why locals believe it has become a cursed treasure for them. But regardless, up to 400,000 people in Myanmar are said to rely on the dangerous job of illegal scavenging.
Damn, so even if they do all that, they still can't even freaking, like I said, it's not like they can make a freaking pop off of that because they're gonna get arrested soon after, man. That goes to show the things, man, people do for freaking money or for that treasure, bro. Like all those freaking conditions they have to go through, and you still see all those people swarming, so they know they risk, it's a risk, but they feel like they have to take it, man, to get that money. Seekers. That's the world come to, man. Truly. Seekers, that's it for this video for you guys today, man. Like I said, if you guys stay with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker seeking the truth. I appreciate the support, man. Like I said, let's grow together, seekers, man. In order for us to grow, I need you guys to subscribe, hit that like button, man, hit that post notifications. Also follow me on all my social medias. I would really appreciate all the support so we can stay connected on there as well. We're gonna grow seekers, man. Like I said, I haven't missed a day in April working through some stuff, man, but we're gonna keep going strong. Like I said, I truly believe, man, we could grow the seekers into something special. Like I said, man, some upgrades. I know some upgrades I do for the channel that's gonna come, and just stick with me, man. You're gonna grow the seekers. You guys can catch you in the next one. I'm out. Peace, seekers. What's up, seekers? Welcome back to the channel, man. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing all right, man. If you're brand new to this channel, if you guys don't know what we do, man, we break down scary and creepy videos, man, on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG reels, Facebook reels, man. Anything weird, usually unexplained, you can find right here on this channel. Just like I said, I want to thank the seekers, man, who's been tapping in with us, man, subbing up to the channel and hitting that like button, man. I really appreciate that, man. Like I said, guys, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that post notification bell so we can grow our community together. Found this video for you guys today, man. Let's do what we do best, seekers. Let's seek the truth.
Miss the total solar eclipse on April the 8th, you may never see one again. And here's why. People are making such a big deal about this eclipse that the Niagara Falls region has had to declare a state of emergency to prepare for the amount of crowds trying to see it. Now, what makes this one so special is that the time for total coverage of the sun will last for a massive 4 minutes and 23 seconds in some areas. Our sun is approaching its solar maximum, which is a period of time where it's most active, meaning this eclipse is perfectly timed for you to have the chance of seeing some insane flares. You'll see stars in the middle of the day, the air will suddenly get cooler, and the reason you may never experience it again is that a lot of the time the shadow of a total solar eclipse passes through the ocean, the tip of South America, the coast of Iceland. So for a city to find itself in this path of totality again, you'll have to wait another 375 years. Now, if you don't live in these cities, almost everyone in North America will still get the chance to see a partial solar eclipse. So I'll be sure to make an update the day before to remind you that this is the scary story.
Seekers, man, when he's talking about that solar eclipse, bro, the part I'm focusing on, he says that 4 minutes and 23 seconds, man, where it's just like, says it's just gonna be complete, I guess, not complete darkness, but it's gonna cover up the sun, so it's gonna be like, yeah, it's gonna be kind of dark in some areas, man. I wonder what's gonna happen, man. People gonna try to, is that gonna turn into something else, man? You know how people are, bro, when like, I guess events and stuff happens around the world, Seekers. That's something we're gonna have to keep an eye on, man. Remember, 4 minutes and 23 seconds? I don't know, Seekers, bro. About that Eclipse, man. Yeah, guys gonna check it out?
Story about the Easter Bunny. One night, a kid named Jimmy was lying in bed. It was Easter the next day, and Jimmy couldn't wait. Suddenly, as Jimmy was trying to fall back asleep, he heard a noise come from downstairs. At first, he didn't care, but when he heard the noise again, he got up and went down the stairs to go check it out. Jimmy was really hoping that it was the Easter Bunny. When Jimmy got downstairs, he saw the Easter Bunny just standing there. Jimmy got excited and tried to talk to him. But before Jimmy could even speak, the Easter Bunny jumped at him. The next morning, Jimmy's parents got up and went downstairs. When they went into the living room to look at the Easter baskets, they froze in horror. In the one basket was Jimmy's decapitated head. Jimmy's parents then freaked out and called the police. The police then told them that a man was dressing up as the Easter Bunny last night and was breaking into people's houses and killing them.
I'm gonna show you a picture and tell me how it makes you feel. There's an extremely dark backstory behind this photo, one that you probably wouldn't suspect. This was way out in Jefferson County, Georgia. This is back in 2017, and there was a lot of suspicious activity coming out of this area. This was right around April of that year, kind of near Easter time, so of course families had a lot of plans to have their family in town, despite there being a lot of break-ins in this area. So very late one evening, the girl where this story came from was home with her family, her two older brothers, when it appears that she must have heard something outside of her room because she got out of bed. Because there was a smashed dish that was found at the scene, we can assume that was what she heard. So she left her room and immediately started filming, thinking that it was probably her older brother. So she was trying to make a joke. Only when she left her room, it was not her brother in the kitchen. No one seemed to hear anything, but she was found the following morning in the backyard of the home, and this was one of the final frames that was captured on her phone that was released publicly.
Seekers, man, what is it about the holidays time, bro, that people just decide to freaking do some weird things, man? You dressed up like a damn Easter bunny, bro? And why would you, and Easter on a holiday like that, man? That's just a smack in the face. Doing it on that holiday, freaking taking people away from their families, that's not what it's just about, Seekers. But people, they twisted it and freaking to try to turn it to something else, man. You're gonna have to look into this Easter story, Seekers. Something about that, bro.
Imagine seeing a man walking down the street eating a severed leg. On March 22nd of this year, around 8 a.m. in Kern County, California, there was a fatal train collision that had killed somebody. This collision happened at the city's Amtrak station. 27-year-old Rosendo Tellez was near the scene and actually went up to the victim and snatched his leg. He then started to walk around the area carrying that victim's leg. People in the area saw what he was carrying, and that's when they decided to record him. That's when they realized that Rosendo was walking around biting from that leg and eating it. The video was then posted on social media, and it showed him walking around with the leg, and then he started waving it around police cars that were near the area. That same day, Rosendo was arrested. He was charged with removal of human remains other than a cemetery, 1 misdemeanor count of controlled substance paraphernalia, and 1 felony offense of his probation. May that victim forever rest in peace.
What's to eat a human leg? What the hell is going through his mind, man? Crazy world, Seekers. At it. Gotta call it like I see it.
The most evil kids ever. Part 3. Here is India's youngest serial killer ever, Amarjit Sada. This young Indian boy was accused of murdering 3 babies. The young boy's first 2 murders were done to his family members. Amarjit murdered his 6-month-year-old cousin and his 8-month-year-old sister. He would throw a brick at the baby's head to make them unconscious and then strangle them to death. The worst part was Amirjit's family knew what was happening, they just did not care. Days later, the young boy went to his neighbors and abducted the newborn baby from them. He then killed his neighbor's baby using the same torture method. Amirjit was caught committing the crimes. When the police asked the little boy why he committed the crimes, he just laughed and asked for a biscuit. Amirjit was sentenced to 10 years in prison. This is him now, a free man. You should never...
They didn't even freaking care, bro. That's the part that got to me, Seekers, man. His family knew what he was doing, those acts, and they just didn't care. They just let it continue. And since they didn't stop him, it spread into somebody else's family. Trying to tell you guys, Seekers, man. These videos, bro, be expanding my mind. I didn't even know something like that even happened, bro. Like, what the hell? If you don't do something, man, to stop the problem, man, it can affect other people. So just take care of it now, Seekers.
Ever trust childhood actors who became murderers? Meet Ryan Grantham. Ryan Grantham starred in the Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie and Riverdale. But on March 31st of 2020, his life took a dark turn. He unalived his mother while she was playing the piano and was sentenced to life in prison. His reason behind doing this was because he wanted to spare her from seeing the violence that he was going to commit later on.
You know, there's a lot of stuff, Seekers, man, that's been going on with these freaking, you know, childhood actors in Hollywood recently. That's just another one who just took a dark turn. I mean, I watched the Diary of a Wimpy Kid, so when that name came out, I'm like, what the hell? I remember it. I started to remember. I'm just like, what do these kids be going through in this Hollywood process, man, that just freaking, like, changes their mindsets, man? There's something, man, going on in that Hollywood when it comes to kids that we really gotta pay attention to, or someone just has to do a deep dive into it, Seekers, man. There's like something that's going on that we really don't know about.
I hope y'all live your life well without seeing my child, Gabrielle Blair. You lived well without seeing them throughout their whole life, so live well now. But you ain't got nothing to say to me for what I did for my child, period.
As a mother, one of your primary responsibilities was to protect your kid. And in that respect, you failed in the worst possible way. There's nothing that can be done at this point to change what happened.
True, that's why I'm asking for life.
They lived in terrible fear of you. And I find that just so sad in this case. You imposed the death penalty on your own children.
I did.
You're therefore sentenced to the Michigan Department of Corrections for the rest of your life without the possibility of parole, meaning, of course, that you will never get out. You will receive, yes, you will receive credit for 115 days.
On February 15, 2018, the defendant, Pearl Cynthia Fernandez, entered a plea to murder in the first degree and further admitted the special circumstance of intentional murder by torture. Accordingly, it is the judgment and sentence of this court that the defendant shall be sentenced to a term of life in prison without the possibility of parole for the underlying murder charge.
I'm sorry to my children. I want them to know that I love them.
It's the same like she reading the script.
And I hope they would come to me. I wish it could escape you.
The story of the School of Rock pedophile is one of the most disturbing things I've ever read about. Meet Jason James Murphy, a former Hollywood casting agent who, before he worked as a casting agent for children, had been convicted of one of the most terrible crimes I've read about. So when Jason was just 19 years old, he was in college at the time, he kidnapped an 8-year-old boy, held him hostage, and repeatedly assaulted him. He had met the boy while he was working as a camp counselor, and he eventually served 5 years in prison and was obviously required to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life. But in 2005, just a few years after Jason got out of prison, he moved to California, and that's when he started working in Hollywood. Jason was a casting agent for a number of huge films. He worked by helping to cast the children in the film School of Rock. He also helped to cast the film Cheaper by the Dozen, which obviously has a lot of kids in it. And he worked on a number of different movies, including stuff like Super 8 by J.J. Abrams. Now, apparently, people didn't really know about his past, which I think is really strange, because if they were actually doing background checks on the people that they hired, they would see that this man had served 5 years in prison. But in 2011, he was rearrested for failing to file a name change Now, he was arrested again in 2011 after he had worked on all these movies because he failed to file a name change and a change of address with the government, but he had apparently been working for years under a different name. And I mean, this guy was trying to outrun his sordid past, but with such a horrible crime that you've committed, you can never outrun that. And I don't know if he's still working with Hollywood, working around kids, but I really hope that he's not.
See, because we were just talking about what's going on in freaking Hollywood. That's another prime example. How the heck you don't know, man? You didn't look into his past when you hired people? You would think of Hollywood, they would do that.
What they find out years later will haunt you. A young couple decided to take a late-night stroll through the forest, but little did they know what awaited them. As they walked, the man felt a sense of unease, but his girlfriend dismissed his concerns. Suddenly, the man stepped on something that felt alive and squishy under his feet. Before he could react, they heard rustling from the bushes beside them. They ignored it and kept walking until they returned home. Years later, and they were watching TV when an interview with a death row inmate caught their attention. The man had been asked if he had ever came close to getting caught for his heinous crimes. The killer responded with a chilling tale. Yes, I remember one night in the woods a couple walked right by me. The man stepped on the body of the girl who I had just killed. I was hiding in the bushes just a few feet away, but they never saw me. The couple watched in horror as the name of one of the most notorious serial killers was revealed. His name was Ted Bundy. Follow because my next story is crazy.
Seekers, man. You never know. That's why you always got to be aware of your surroundings. They were just walking through the woods and like this, probably the average night walk for them, man. And what they stumbled upon, bro, that could have freaking changed their life forever, man. They survived that, man. They was able to go home. You always gotta be where you're surrounded, Seekers, man. You never know who's around, bro. It's a prime example.
You wanted to know more about Cherie Glenn, and I found you more. Now, this was the leaked booking photo of Cherie Glenn, one of America's most infamous cannibals from the 80s. So much of her story and these case records had been sealed from the public because it was deemed too disturbing to print. Even this booking photo, it was sealed. This is a leak. They did have somebody submit another leaked photo of this photo. It's just from a closer angle. Like I said, there's not really much that's publicly known because so much of her case was actually sealed. The rumors of the story was that the case was so bizarre and so horrific in the cannibalistic practices that it was difficult at the time to find a jury that could stand it. Descriptions of not only her consuming victims, but forcing victims to consume parts of her. Somebody also reached out and tracked down what they think might be a yearbook photo of her from the 70s. By no means is it 100% confirmed, but it does look really similar to her. It's 100% in the eyes.
I can't believe that case was so severe that they had to close it.
This has to be one of the scariest videos I've ever seen. No ghosts, no spirits, real life. A young female real estate photographer was taking photos for her job one day. She happened to be in an occupied house. A resident began following her around. She says this wasn't unusual, so she didn't think anything of it, until she started noticing multiple locks on certain doors, and even a camera pointed toward one of these doors. When she goes upstairs, a man comes out of one of the rooms. What happens next is straight out of a horror film. You have to see the video for yourself.
Okay, so I took pictures of this house, and this guy was following me around like the whole time. Which isn't unusual, but he was a little bit strange, and there was like 6 people living in this house, at the quarter house. But I also noticed they have like 3 locks on the door, and then down here they have locks. And then going up here, they have a camera, and it's facing this door. Anyway, a roommate comes out of this door, and he asks them if he should lock the door and kidnap me. And I said, immediately, people know where I am. And then he laughed and said, no one would ever hear from you again. Bro, I did not even finish this house. I immediately left. I was like, nope, dipped the f*** out.
You should.
You can see me right there. Hello. But yeah, pretty sure I maybe almost got kidnapped, but I don't really know.
If you're a woman and you've ever had any close calls like this, let me know in the comments below. We need to spread awareness that things like this really happen.
She's aware of her surroundings, Seekers, man. Like, they had all those locks on that door. That's already suspicious, and the camera pointed towards the door. And she said it was a water house, so there's a lot of people in there, man. But those locks, that was like a data giveaway that something weird was going on. And for him to just be so bluntly about it, saying nobody would know you were gone, like, what the hell was going through his mind? And she dipped out of it. She did what she was supposed to do. Get out. See, if you're in a situation like that, and if you can exit, leave that situation, take it. Because you never know what's the alternative.
Tell me you didn't delete the video of the dead kid. It's $10K if you give to the popo. That's one of the texts accused killer Taylor Sherman received after he and his friends, known as the Gilbert Goons gang, allegedly beat 16-year-old Preston Lord to death. After the incident, the FBI was offering a $10,000 reward for more information. In another message, accused killer Jacob Meisner asked people to delete the videos to cover their tracks. All 7 suspects have pleaded not guilty.
This video evidence is not too much they can do, man. It's like their fate is sealed. Gotta face the consequences of their action, man.
I paused and he said, "Why are you doing this?" And I said, "I've been wanting to do this for a long time, for something." And then I continue. I cut open his belly to see his guts. They're really pink. Sorry, that was morbid. It's okay if I do a demonstration. This is him. I was straddled on top of him like this. Okay. And he couldn't fight back. It was actually surprisingly easy. I was barely breaking the sweat. I thought, oh, this guy, he's going to be tough. But no, it was actually surprisingly easy.
Hi, I'm Cam, and you might recognize this man as the former spokesperson for Subway. But today, he's eating cold prison meals and getting beat up by other inmates because Jared Fogle is a pedophile. Jared rose to fame when someone wrote an article about him in a student newsletter about his weight loss journey. Jared had dropped 245 pounds and claimed it was from eating Subway sandwiches. He did over 300 advertisements for Subway from 2000 to 2015. In 2004, Jared created the Jared Foundation, a nonprofit raising awareness about childhood obesity. In reality, the nonprofit didn't distribute any grants or funds like it promised, and the director, Russell Taylor, was arrested for child exploitation and possession of child porn. Jared came under the spotlight of the FBI when a radio host brought text messages and audio recordings of Jared claiming he was having sex with underage girls. He also asked the radio host to install cameras in her children's room so he could watch them. But the FBI apparently needed more evidence than that and didn't charge him. The FBI eventually raided his house and Jared Fogle was charged. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison. In March of 2016, Jared was attacked by another inmate and was left with a bloody nose and swollen face.
Really did lose 245 pounds eating Subway sandwiches, and that's like a whole person and a half. I feel like I could do anything.
This couple were eaten alive by a grizzly bear captured on harrowing video footage. It was October 2003. Timothy Treadwell was a 46-year-old grizzly bear enthusiast. He famously claimed that he felt more at home in nature with the bears than in normal human society. He spent a total of 13 summers in Alaska's Katmai National Park, documenting the giant creatures. He would stun people by how close he got to the giant animals. He said the animals understood him and that there was a mutual respect, and he would even occasionally wrestle with the baby cubs. Park rangers, though, were warning Timothy about how unpredictable the animals could be. This was what Timothy lived for, though. He seemed very willing to take the huge risk of getting up close and personal with these beautiful bears. Now, Timothy began to get complacent. On one occasion, he even left food open inside of his tent. Rangers had to warn him not to do this. Now, in the autumn in question, he was actually with his girlfriend Amy at the park. And they usually only stayed for the summer, but this year they were there much later into October. Bears are known to be a little bit more anxious and antagonistic this time of year as they are preparing for hibernation and food supplies are less. On the 5th of October, Timothy and his girlfriend were due to be picked up. They were getting a plane out of the national park, but when the pilot turned up, they were nowhere to be found. Near the campsite, the pilot stumbled upon something terrifying. A human ribcage lay on the floor. Park rangers were called and they were met by a terrifying bear. It tried to attack them, so they killed it. Human remains were later found in its stomach. They were the remains of Timothy and Amy. Timothy's video camera was later recovered from the campsite. The camera had captured the couple's brutal death. The audio from the camera was rolling and it picked up Timothy screaming that he was being killed out here. Amy then shouts at him to play dead and then encourages him to fight back. Tragically, they were both eaten by the grizzly bear.
At the end of the day, man, like I said, when people want to try to connect with nature, they gotta understand, like, these wild animals, at the end of the day, these animals, they're freaking wild animals, so they have their instincts. So even though you might think they're tamed, you never know what could happen, man. Like I said, it was close to hibernation, so it just, something went off, I guess, in that bear's head for food, and it just took it, man. Tragic story, Seekers.
How did you get the ropes on you? Who did them? You're not in trouble with me, okay? We're just trying to figure out what's going on. Our main focus right now is you, okay? Who put the ropes on you? Supposed to help you what?
Imagine being invited over for a study session only to be murdered and eaten by another student. This man literally killed and ate a human and never spent any time in jail. It was the 11th of June 1981 in Paris. Isai Sagawa was a Japanese man studying in France. On the day in question, he invited a fellow student round to help him translate poetry for an assignment. The student was Dutch woman Renee Hartveld. She had no idea he had sinister plans for her. She also wasn't aware of his dark and depraved past. He planned to kill and eat her, and his reasoning was that he felt that he was weak and ugly. She, on the other hand, was very healthy and beautiful. He thought if he ate her, he would take on her characteristics. When she showed up, he shot her in the neck. Horrifically, he then arred her body and tried to eat her, but realized his teeth weren't sharp enough. He decided to go out and come back with a sharp knife. Upon arrival back at the house, he ate part of her face, bum, feet and neck. He then saved some of her body parts in his fridge. Now as time went on, the rest of her body started to decompose. He panicked and took the rest of her remains over to a lake. Luckily, he was caught doing so and was found to have 2 suitcases with him filled with body parts. Now this should have been the end of the tale, and he should have gone to prison and served a lot of time for this hideous crime. It turned out, as a child, he'd experienced cannibalistic desires. When he was 24, he'd stalked a woman and followed her back to her apartment. He then broke in as she slept. Now she actually woke up and fought back. He was arrested and charged with R, but actually had a wealthy dad who just paid off the victim. A few years later, in 1977, he went to study in Paris. He claimed he would often bring home S-workers and intend to kill them, but just would freeze up. Now again, due to his wealthy family, when he got arrested for the horrific cannibal murder, he was able to afford a good lawyer. He was found legally insane and unfit to stand trial. He was then placed in a mental hospital for an unspecified amount of time. However, his case then started getting widespread media attention, and he was actually deported back to Japan. It was in Japan he was declared sane. Now the charges in France had been dropped, and he was released from hospital in 1986, and then was a free man. This was obviously heavily criticised by so many people. Staggeringly, he remained free until 2022, when he passed away from pneumonia in Tokyo, aged 73.
This is Funky Town, one of the worst cartoons.
If you can have that, I'll tell you, man, Secret, man, when people have money and power, they can try to get away with anything, man. That's another prime example. He was declared legally insane at the end. They came back. He was sane. So it's like, which one is it then, Seekers? And there's no consequences, man.
How execution videos explained. Okay, before I begin, this is a massive trigger warning. The video begins in some sort of room and there is music playing. The first song that plays is Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses, and the camera pans to the victim tied on the floor with some plastic wire, but the torture already began before the video starts, because the victim looks like he already went through complete brutality. His hands have already been cut off and his face has been completely flayed, which means skinned. There is no skin on the victim's face at all, and his eyes have been gouged out, and there is an insane amount of blood on the floor. But the most messed up part is about this. is that the victim is hooked up to some sort of IV, and the IV is pumping him with drugs to keep him alive and aware, making sure he felt everything happening to him. At the start of the video, they try and slit his throat with a sickle and press it against his jaw. But when the victim begins to scream, they shove a box cutter in his mouth to shut him up. His screams are absolutely gut-turning. They kept going from screaming to gurgling, from screaming to gurgling. And as the video progresses, they take the box cutter and slit his throat about 40 times. And keep in mind, the victim is still alive and aware of everything because of the drugs they are giving him to keep him alive. Also, the killers are mocking and laughing at the victim the entire time. They continue to try and slit his throat with the box cutter and were going at his neck numerous times, all while the song Funky Town was playing in the background, hence the name of the video. The killers kept having to physically restrain the victim, meaning there was still a lot of life left in him, and the amount of pain he had to be in is completely unimaginable. At one point in the video, a man had his foot on his chest holding him down, and another time they had shoved a pole in his mouth holding him in place. But the worst part about the video is towards the end, where the victim manages to loosen his arms from the restraints and immediately tries to touch his face. But remember, the victim has no face at all, no hands, and no eyes. But instinctively, the victim still tries to touch his face. It's absolutely horrifying, and the video then concludes. Keep in mind, the victim was still alive when the video ended, so who knows what else they did to him before he died. Because they were literally keeping him alive just to torture him. This victim went through so much pain and torment, and you can make an argument that nobody has ever been tortured as bad as this guy ever. I explain this based off pure memory from the first time I saw the video, because I won't dare watch it again because it's that gruesome. Everybody who saw videos like this always say Funky Town is the worst of the worst. And I honestly think that might be true, so please don't watch it and please don't search it up.
I won't. I never watched those type of video seekers, man. He says don't watch it, I take his word. Seekers, that's it, man, for this video for you guys today. If you guys stay with me to the end, you're a true seeker seeking the truth, so I greatly appreciate the support, guys. Like I said, guys, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, man, hit that post notification bell so we could grow our community together and we can get to this algorithm, man, so more people can see us. Like, guys, also follow me on my social medias, man, links are in the description down below. I greatly appreciate a follow. Guys, I'm catching the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, seekers. What's up, seekers? Welcome back to the channel, man. Hopefully you guys you're doing all right, man. If you guys are brand new here, man, what we do is we break down scary and creepy videos, man, on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos to IG reels, Facebook reels, man. Anything weird, usually unexplained, you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank the seekers who's been tapping in with us, man, subbing up to the channel, liking the videos. I greatly appreciate that, man. That's how we grow the seekers. That's how we grow our community. So guys, hit that like button, subscribe. Found this video for you guys today, man. Let's do what we do best. Seek the truth, seekers. Here we go.
The worst thing I've ever heard of happening at a theme park. This roller coaster was called the Smiler at Alton Towers in the UK. This is the promo for the ride. It was supposed to be really, really creepy.
Join us.
This happened on June 2nd, 2015. The staff sent an empty car to test the tracks, and the car stopped in the middle of the tracks of the roller coaster. They then sent a car full of people down the tracks when this empty car was just sitting here. So the people collided into the empty roller coaster car. I obviously can't show you the video on here or this video will get taken down, but it's terrifying because these people see the car sitting there and they know they're going to crash into it. And there's a video of the aftermath where the car that they're in is just swinging back and forth and they're screaming and crying in pain. It's horrible. 5 people needed serious treatment. 2 people shattered their knees, and 1 person had to get their leg amputated. It's all so terrifying. I can't even imagine. And of course, this video is informational, and I mean no disrespect to anyone involved. If you like my content, follow my TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube for more. It really helps when you interact.
Surgery in the 8th.
Seekers, bro. Like I said, I'm not even that kind of big on roller coasters, man. I remember when I went to the freaking amusement park, bro. So everybody's getting on the freaking big roller coasters. I'm like, nah, I'm good, bro. That ain't for me. I don't know, like a couple, man, but that's freaking insane, bro. The head that they said they sent a roller coaster ahead and it stopped mid tracks, and they still sent another one full of people. Like, I don't know what was going through that person's head when they decided to do that plan, but that was like a freaking demented plan, bro. Like, who does something like that, man? Just to see, I guess, to see what type of results they can get. And that promo was freaking weird as hell too, Seekers, man. I guess that promo was a sign, bro. Crazy.
1800s was fucking insane. Literally no anesthesia, no fucking drugs. You was awake while motherfuckers was chopping you up. One of the professional choppers, Robert Liston, was literally one of the fastest surgeons, which is good because you obviously want that shit to be over with fast. One day he was working so fast on a patient that he accidentally cut off 2 of his assistant's fingers. Both the patient and his assistant later died of gangrene. Oh, that's not all. Also, during the procedure, he accidentally swiped his blade past one of the elderly doctor's coats. The elderly doctor thought he was cut and literally went into shock and had a heart attack. So this motherfucker literally killed 3 people trying to save 1.
Crazy Seekers.
This teen took revenge on his ex in the most horrific way. On June 3rd, 17-year-old Madison Shimitz was stabbed by her ex-boyfriend, 18-year-old Spencer Pearson, outside a restaurant in Jacksonville. On this day, Madison, her mother Jackie, and a friend were sitting at a restaurant named Mr. Chubby's Wings when they noticed Spencer sitting at a table not too far from them. You see, Madison and Spencer had been broken up for a couple of months now, but he has been harassing her by following her to school and leaving notes on her car. So when they spotted Spencer sitting close to them at the restaurant, they quickly left. Spencer followed Madison and her mother to the parking lot. He threw Madison to the ground and began stabbing her. Madison was stabbed 15 times. Many of these wounds hit her back, which caused her to be paralyzed. Madison's mother was also stabbed in the head and leg while she tried to protect her daughter. This man, who happened to be there, intervened and tried to stop Spencer, and as a result, he was stabbed in the hand. When police were on their way, Spencer slit his throat in an attempt to take his own life, but he was unsuccessful. Spencer has been charged with 2 counts of attempted premeditated murder and aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. So about 10 minutes.
Seekers, man. Like I said, you gotta watch out for people like that, bro. When you're in a relationship, man, because once it ends or something, bro, you don't know that'll send them over a cliff or not. And look what happened, man. You just following, stalking her, bro. And look at the result of what happened, man. Such a tragic case. See him, like, imagine you going to like a restaurant, I guess you with your parents or something, and your freaking ex, it's just like you see him following you. That would always throw me off right there, bro. I wouldn't even actually try to leave the restaurant because you want witnesses, man. In case something trying to happen, something try to go down, look what happened. As soon as they left, that's when he made his move. Things, man, people would do, bro, just to get back at the ex in a relationship. It's truly terrifying, Seekers.
Minutes ago, there was an update in the disappearance of Nicola Bulley. Nicola went missing last Friday whilst walking her dog near the River Wyre. And just moments ago, police released a CCTV image of a woman walking her dog who they now believe may have been the last person to see Nicola. It's important to note that the police want to talk to this woman as a potential witness and not a potential suspect. In fact, police have now said that they have no reason to suspect that a third party is involved with Nicola's disappearance. Authorities are continuing an extensive search of the river, as well as searching an old abandoned house near to where Nicola went missing. Hopefully, Nicola will be located soon and her family and friends will have answers.
They gotta locate her soon.
A man just tried to end the lives of a woman and 2 young children by driving his Tesla off of a 250-meter cliff. The only problem is, all 4 of them somehow survived. The cliff is known as Devil's Slide, and when authorities were informed of the incident, they assumed that they'd be retrieving bodies, until they noticed movement from inside the vehicle. One official said, "We go there all the time for cars over the cliff, and they never live." This was an absolute miracle. The man and the woman sustained serious but non-life-threatening injuries, while the 2 children came out unharmed. So the question is, was this extremely lucky or a W for Tesla?
Damn. Are Teslas that durable, Seekers? If you can tell the name of that freaking cliff they went off, that's like, you know, a bad omen, bad sign already. But to hear that they had significant, the 2 of those had significant, no, non-significant injuries, and the kids came out unscathed, that's just a pure miracle right there, Seekers. We don't know if that's Tesla or if that was something else, man. But he tried to end it all, bro, and nothing even happened, bro. Whew. Somebody was looking out for that whole family. What do you guys think, Seekers, man? That's a bizarre case, bro. Truly.
This video unless you have a very strong stomach. This case is truly sickening. On August the 31st, 2019, Margaret Sumney was unreachable. Her family knew something was wrong. They tried and failed to get hold of her for 2 days before notifying police to ask them to do a welfare check. When police went to her house in Pennsylvania, what they discovered was horrifying. They found shattered glass all over the floor and blood smeared on the walls. They found the 67-year-old's body in the bath. She'd been beaten to death. The autopsy revealed that she died from blunt force trauma to the head. Police interviewed her son David, who initially denied having anything to do with her death. However, police searched his phone and found absolutely disgusting images. They uncovered 277 sickening pictures, including selfies of David with her body, his face smeared in her blood, and doing a thumbs up pose. Police also discovered that David was in possession of his mum's jewellery and several blank checks. He also had a record of previously assaulting his mother twice and attacking his now deceased father once. The same year as his mum's murder, he allegedly waterboarded and strangled his ex-girlfriend in an Atlantic City hotel. It's reported, though, that he just slipped through the cracks in the police databases, allowing him to go on to offend again. He was soon arrested, and it was found that when he'd committed the murder of his mother, he'd taken a large amount of Adderall. His defense argued that he had diminished responsibility due to his substance and alcohol use. Originally, he was facing charges of first-degree murder and abuse of a corpse. However, due to a legal loophole, he entered a guilty plea, so he would only be charged with third-degree murder. He was sentenced to 20 to 40 years in prison. Terrifyingly, as he's now been in prison since 2019, and due to his good behaviour behind bars, he could be released in just 17 years.
Seekers, man, what do you guys think? I don't think he should get freaking off like that, man. It's like, bro, like they said, he had a pattern or history of attacking people before, and they said they didn't pick up on him because he just slipped through the freaking cracks, man. I'm telling you, man, the system, sometimes it's fair, sometimes it's not, man. But they had, like you said, he had a history of doing that to people, and he just let it slip through the cracks, and they said due to a loophole, he got that low sentence. And the head could be even lower again. I'm like, I don't think so, Seekers, man. And he did that to his own freaking mom, bro. Your own blood, bro. Can't trust anybody, man. Family, friends, nobody's the exception. What do you guys think, Seekers?
This is a man who killed his family twice. Gregory Green is a convicted convicted murderer who completely failed at his second chance at life. In his early 20s, he married Tanya Green. It wasn't long into the marriage that Gregory started to show some signs of abusiveness, such as jealousy, anger, and violence. While Tanya was 6 months pregnant with Gregory's child, she threatened to leave him for good once she got home. But Tanya never got the chance because as soon as she got home, Gregory stabbed her with a steak knife 10 times, killing her and their unborn child. Gregory was given a 15 to 25-year sentence in prison, and during his time there, he was denied parole 4 times. However, during his time in prison, he gained lots of support from friends and family and grew really close to a pastor named Fred Harris, who helped him find God, and he was his biggest supporter of getting him out. In 2008, Gregory was released on parole after serving 16 years in prison. And after just 2 years on parole, he was a completely free man. Shortly after that, he married his second wife, Faith Harris Green, who was the daughter of the pastor he was working with in prison. They were married for 6 years, and Faith had a 19 and 17-year-old child from a previous marriage, and Gregory and Faith had a 5 and 6-year-old child. Over the course of their marriage, Gregory started to show the same signs of abusiveness as he showed before, and Faith also tried to file a restraining order, but was denied. Things got really ugly in 2016 when Gregory poisoned his 2 young children that were sleeping upstairs, took Faith to the basement, tied her to a chair, and beat her. He then brought down his stepchildren and shot them in front of her. Faith survived the encounter, and Gregory was sentenced to prison yet again and won't be eligible for parole until he's 97 years old.
Imagine getting arrested.
See, because man, we know you hear the expression about everybody deserves a second chance, but he literally had a second chance and he wasted it, and it was a pattern that, or a cycle he just could not get out of, man. And to do that to the freaking pastor who was there for you, man, the daughter. Sickening case, seekers. Did that to his own kids, man, and to the stepkids as well. That's just traumatizing them, man. Just like, what's the point? You know, everybody deserves a second chance, but it's people like that that makes people, that's why people sometimes say people don't deserve a second chance, and he's one of the prime examples.
For having a child with a dead body. Jennifer Burrows is a 26-year-old who was working at a morgue when she was arrested after a DNA test proved her child's father was a dead body she was supposed to autopsy. But it actually gets worse from here, because while Jennifer was working as an assistant pathologist at the morgue, she had relations with more than 60 bodies, belonging to men aged 17 to 71 years old. She did this for 2 years until it led to the birth of her son. Her son's father was a 57-year-old veterinarian from Texas, who passed away in a car accident in 2017. Jennifer was charged with 158 counts of indecent treatment of a corpse. Many psychologists and experts have debated why someone would do this. The reasons range from curiosity to severe mental illness. Some even believe Jennifer was suffering from psychosis. Alright, after all that, I don't really know how to end this video, so stay safe out there and follow for more.
This 000 call is absolutely horrifying. It's a call made by 26-year-old Jessica Camilleri after she'd just attacked her mother with 7 knives, taken off her head, and walked outside with it in her hand.
Hello, it's Alison from Police Emergency. We just received a call from this number.
Yes, I need you to get the ambulance and the police out immediately.
To which address?
128 Huntway Avenue. Please come. I need you. This is I need you. I grabbed the knife off her because I thought she was going to stab me, so I stabbed her back. And I was so heated up with anger, I just kept stabbing and stabbing and stabbing her. And I took off her head.
Jessica suffers from multiple mental health disorders as well as ADHD and OCD. Her mother was trying to get her help after multiple incidents of Jessica assaulting people in public, pulling their hair, and threatening to shred their heads. She'd also made hundreds of phone calls to random numbers, saying things like, "I'll come to your house with a knife and shred your head to the neck." On this fateful night, July 20th, 2019, Jessica's mother Rita was at home with a younger relative, a little boy that hasn't been named due to his age. Jessica hated the fact that this younger relative was in the house, and her and her mother got into a heated argument. Jessica dragged Rita by her hair to the kitchen, grabbed a kitchen knife and began stabbing over and over. Each time one of the knives broke, she'd grab another and continue the attack. At one point, the 4-year-old child that was witnessing the attack actually tried to save Rita. He jumped on Jessica and hit her over the head with the lid of a toy box. She threw him off and actually slashed his cheek and his arm and hand in the process. She then continued the attack on Rita. Most of the blows were aimed at Rita's face, head, and neck. She stabbed Rita through the eye socket, took off her nose and tongue, and then twisted her head clean off, walked outside with it in her hand, and went to a neighbour's house. She then made that 000 phone call, and when police arrived, she told them, "My mother's head is on the concrete over there. Can you sew it back on?" Jessica's trial began, and the court was played the 000 phone call as well as body cam footage that showed Jessica repeatedly asking police if they could bring her mother back to life and reattach her head. In 2020, Jessica was cleared of murder by a jury and instead convicted of manslaughter after her defence lawyers argued that she was impaired by a mixture of mental disorders. She was sentenced to 21 years with a non-parole period of 16 years. However, this year she appealed that sentence and she won. Her non-parole period was reduced, meaning she'll be eligible for parole in 2031 when she'll be 37.
See, cause that case that freaking twists and turns, bro. But to hear that freaking call, it's chilling, man. I don't see how people can just do that after they do like a horrific act like that. They can just be so calm on the phone talking and just saying what they did. She took off her mom's head. And the 4-year-old kid freaking traumatized. Like, he even knew, like, imagine it being a kid that young, but that kid knew something was going on and tried to help. Like, 4 years old, having to see that. Scarring that kid for life, Seekers, man. Tragic case.
911, what's the location of the emergency? Help me! Yes, what address do you need help? I'm not on an address, I'm on a road on Myers Road. He's trying to kill me! Which road are you on? Myers Road, Oregon City! Okay, do you have an address? Listen. Kathy Lee, come on, get a stop here now. Okay, who's trying to kill you? My husband! He's trying to take a shot. Okay, what? He's trying to kill me! Come on! And then, what kind of gun does he have? Ma'am, take a deep breath so I can understand you. Ma'am, I've already got help coming. I need you to tell me wire and what? On plan. I'm on plan. Wire. Just a minute. I'm walking. He shot me. Okay, you're on fire at Glenview Court? He shot me. Okay, where did he shoot you? In the chest. In the chest? He's over there.
She ended it all. I'm like, you know, the police, they on the phone, like I said, I'm talking. You gotta like trying to freaking calm them down, but they going through a traumatic event, so you know they not thinking, man. So you trying to tell a person calm down in an event like that, I don't think that's gonna work. You just gotta try to work through it, Seekers in. But boy, to her, she got freaking shot in the chest and she still was able to make that call. Just show you the strength that she had. It's a freaking terrifying call too. She had to make. I guess he was chasing after her in a turquoise truck, and she was on foot.
First ever footage of Madeleine McKenna after the event. Spotted on 4th of May 2007, one day after her disappearance. This girl had heterochromia and was seen some miles from the crime scene.
What the hell happened? We're gonna dive deep into that one, Seekers.
And young and lovely, the girl from Ipanema goes walking, and when she passes, each one she passes.
It's the cool kid. What the hell? Secret, man, these cases, they be flashing sometimes about the Mr. Cruel case. Tell me down below, man, if you guys got any information on that, man. We're going to have to freaking look that one up, man, because he says she's a true combat addict, and it's enough for her to keep her up at night, but that case did, so something shocking must have happened in that case. We got to check that out.
This is one of the most high-profile pedophiles in Hollywood, Jeffrey Jones. You might recognize Jeffrey from a number of movies he's been in, like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, The Hunt for Red October, and Beetlejuice. It's highly ironic to me that in a lot of the movies he was in, Jeffrey Jones played the villain, and he ended up being one in real life. So after his career flourished in the late 80s and 90s, let's fast forward to 2002. That year, Jeffrey was arrested for the possession of CP, if you know what I'm talking about, and he was accused by a 17-year-old boy of soliciting him to take nude photos. These charges get even more disturbing when you realize that the young boy who accused Jeffrey of soliciting him to take nude photographs was 14 when the charges were originally brought up and the accusations were made. Jeffrey pleaded no contest to the solicitation. He openly admitted that he had done this horrible thing. But once again, because of legal loopholes, because he admitted to this and pled no contest, that meant that the other CP charges were completely dropped. And what happened to Jeffrey after all this? Well, he got 5 years probation. He also had to go through counseling and register as a sex offender. And yes, if you're wondering, to this day he is still registered as a sex offender. You can find the records of all of this online. But it seems like Jeffrey didn't want to be known as a sex offender throughout his life. For the rest of his life, and he would end up being arrested twice for failing to update his sex offender registration. And in 2006, when working on the set of the movie Who's Your Caddy?, the community of Aiken, South Carolina, where the film was being filmed, complained to the government and complained that a sex offender was on set. This was due to the fact that families had been invited to visit the set with their children, and they had no idea that there was a predator lurking amongst the crew. To this day, a lot of people don't know what this guy has done, and even Justin Bieber posted a photo with him a couple years back, and a lot of people were obviously a little mad about that. And I think it's important to realize that these people are everywhere. They're your friends, your family, your neighbors. They're even celebrities. And at the end of the day, even the people that you look up to and have seen a million times on the silver screen could be the worst people you've ever met in real life. If you like these types of stories, give me a follow or listen to my wife and I's podcast, Murder in America.
This is what
Secrets, bro. Like I said, you gotta watch out for people like that. Like, just because he freaking pled that no guilty guns, like the other charges are freaking dropped. And because, like I said, news and Hollywood and stuff like that, so you don't know what went on behind the scenes to make those freaking charges drop. But they said he used to playing freaking villains in the roles he was given. He was a villain in real life, man. The freaking a mirror of his freaking real life. Like I said, Secrets, bro. This media we be watching, man. The people behind it, bro. It's always a story to tell, bro. And in real life too. Like I said, we think we're just watching a short movie, but that can affect freaking real life as well. And Justin Bieber took a picture with him? How is he still in the freaking... still getting work after that? Behind the scenes, some stuff went on, Seekers, bro. I'm trying to tell you.
It's one of the most horrific stories I've come across, and that takes a lot. It's the story of Ottie Sanchez and baby Scotty. Viewer discretion is advised. It's graphic and it's disturbing. Ottie was a 33-year-old former healthcare worker in San Antonio, Texas. She'd undergone psychiatric treatment for schizophrenia and she'd been in and out of psychiatric wards for mental health problems. She was suffering from these problems when she met her boyfriend Scott, who was also in the healthcare profession and also suffered from schizophrenia. Ottie fell pregnant, and in July 2009 she gave birth to a son who the couple named Scotty. Scott said she was a brilliant mother. She breastfed her son and cared for him like any mother would. Ottie absolutely doted on her son, but after his birth she began suffering from postnatal depression. Her mental health declined and she was admitted into hospital on July 20th. She was released less than a day later, despite the fact that she'd refused to take medication to help with her intrusive thoughts. She told her boyfriend Scott that she was suffering with PND and schizophrenia, and she'd be taking Scotty and going to live with her mum, sister and nieces. 5 days later, she brought Scotty to see his dad, but after asking for a copy of the birth certificate, she flew into a rage, took Scotty in his car seat, threw it into the passenger seat of the car and drove off. Scott reported this instance to the police, fearing for his son's safety, but the police merely marked it down as a disturbance. By now, Otti was suffering from postpartum psychosis. She'd expressed to officers and medical professionals that she was hearing voices, and she feared she may harm her son. Despite all of her concerns, Scotty was left in her care, and on July 26, 2009, the unthinkable happened.
It's a house. It's an emergency.
And what's going on? What's the emergency?
I'm sorry?
What's the emergency? What's going on?
She hurt her child. Seriously, you hurt her child.
How did she do that? What's going on with the child?
The baby is dead. Jesus.
What did you say?
The baby is dead.
Yeah, the baby.
She's 3 weeks. 3 weeks old.
3 weeks old?
Not even 3 weeks old.
What did she do to him?
She stabbed him. There's blood all over the head. I don't know.
Where's your sister?
You said stay there, I'll be there. I'm sorry.
Preston Lord, where's your sister at?
She's just sitting on the couch. She's gone crazy last night. She was hearing voices. She kept bringing me the baby, and finally she calmed down, and I took her back to the baby. And then now I just woke up to her screaming.
Okay, how old is the baby?
Not even 3 weeks old. This baby's dead. This baby's dead. Please, somebody call.
Okay, there are other ways, but okay.
No, nobody's there. It's okay, baby. Just stay right there.
Is that your sister?
Yes. Oh my God, please. Do you stand yourself? Guys, I told you to come to me. Yes, where did she stab herself? In the heart, in the stomach, she said. Where did it is? I see a stab wound in her heart, yes.
When officers arrived at the home, they saw a scene that was so horrific they had to seek counselling. Otti had used 3-bladed weapons to stab, kill, dismember and decapitate her 3-week-old son. She'd then eaten parts of his brain, his foot and his nose, saying that the devil had told her she had to do this in order to kill the demon inside her and stop an apocalypse. Otti had then stabbed herself and slashed her own throat. Otti was arrested and charged with capital murder, but after being examined by 3 separate doctors who all determined she was legally insane, she was found not guilty by reason of insanity. Otti was admitted to a state mental institution where she'll stay until the jury determines that she's not a risk to herself or others.
Bone chilling case seekers. Must be like a scary clown or something. What the hell was he doing? That case before that, the clown seekers, man, still sends a chill down through my spine. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker seeking the truth. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the support, man. Like I said, in order for the seekers to grow, I need you guys to do some simple things, man. Hit that like button, subscribe, comment down below, man. Tell me what you guys think of the video. Hit that post notification bell. That's it, man. Like I said, I appreciate the support, seekers, bro. Been uploading every day this month, man. Haven't missed a day, so I'm really proud of myself for that. Hopefully April, man, we can do the same thing. Keep this rolling. Guys gonna catch you in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, seekers.